Welcome to See You Next Tuesday. I'm Jade Chung. I get a lot of relationship questions, and actually, I had a request to do an episode about it. Now, instead of boring you with my sappy love stories, I thought it'd be fun to bring someone in to help spread the love. And if you know me, you know that I have to find the absolute perfect person for the topic of choice. And the moment I followed her on Twitter, which I can't believe it wasn't sooner, I knew I had to have her on. Please welcome my guest, Lady Frost. Frost, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think it was a fan who tagged you in a conversation. And the moment I saw your name, I just thought, oh my gosh, she's absolutely perfect for my episode. But I was like, okay, well, like, don't freak her out. Let's just let's
Take
just like,
it
chill
slow.
out. Yeah.
Just chill. Everybody chill.
Chill. There you go. No pun intended, but
all
chill
the puns.
out.
Listen, I have all the cheesy puns. I've been Lady Frost for 3 years now, and I can write a book on puns. But I do remember getting tagged because I believe you had Josh in the doghouse for something. And
Yes.
This is during the time that I was in like a Twitter meme war with my husband. And he was also sleeping on the couch.
Okay, so tell me your story. So why was he on the couch?
It all began from a photo of me and a surfboard from Thunder Rosa from a match we had. And then I think it was a fan originally that cut out the photo and put it on some like interesting meme. I don't know what it was, but there were about 50 of them created and 49 of them were my husband, I think. So he kept digging a bigger or deeper hole. Like
boy.
like it was a joke. But yeah, it lasted like a good week and a half of these memes everywhere of me like it pretzeled up in pain with like the face of anguish was all over Twitter.
Oh no. No.
So yeah, he just he kept digging the grave and he knew what he was doing. So he went from the couch to the porch at one point.
Oh my goodness. And he learned his lesson. I'm hoping.
I sure hope he did, but something tells me that he's relentless. He's a bit of a savage, as his moniker indicates. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay, let's briefly get to know the wrestling side of you for my Canadian listeners. Although I'm hoping Canadians have been supporting and streaming American promotions, so they probably already know you. When and where did you make your debut, and where are you based out of?
Oh, the first question. Well, technically, I debuted on WWE Monday Night Raw.
What?
And wait, you didn't know this?
No, I didn't.
What? Oh, God. So
that's your debut in wrestling? On Raw?
Yes, I wasn't even trained. I was a manager. Like I didn't have shoes. I had Nikes on. Like I was a manager for my husband. I had done some training bumping, but like I barely even knew how to like lock up. Like I knew what it was, but I was not a wrestler in training really. So yep, we did an extra, like a loop. We were extras and they needed a female for essentially like a squash match. And I was pretty much the only one available at the time. And I was like tested out in the ring a little. They gave me a sheet of paper for a promo. The guy came back, I think, to like ask me a question within 2 minutes. And I had already, had the promo down. And he looked at me like bewildered. He asked me to recite it. And I did. And he was like, 1 second, please. He left, came back. And then next thing you know, I was on live television with a live mic and had like a 30-second match that was very forgettable. But the promo, the promo was all right. I was trending on Twitter. I didn't even know what Twitter was. I didn't know what independent wrestling was. It was an interesting in. It was a bumpy road into independent wrestling when you debut on Monday Night Raw. I was not very liked. But yeah, that's my story.
Wow. I'm sorry. You've probably told this story, but for me, holy cow, I've never heard it. I'm so sorry, but I think that's so interesting. And that's pretty dope to say, oh, I made my debut on Raw. Like, what? What year was this?
I've owned it now. It was 2018. So just 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. Yeah. Whoa. So I hated talking about it for so long because I got so many requests to do like podcasts and everything. And like I said, I didn't know how the independent world worked really. And that was like the only reference point I had to wrestling other than being a manager and watching my husband. And he was only like 2 years in, wasn't really going a lot of places. So I had like a very, very small bubble. And then I started getting out into the independents, and that's all anyone remembered me as, I guess. So I was like, I don't want to talk about it. Like, it's different now. Like, it's not who I am. And it was a little bitter, a little spiteful, but now it is cool to look back and say like, hey, I seized a moment. It was right place, right time. I know I didn't earn it. Not that I thought I did back then either, but I did what I could with what I was given. And that was a live mic and a 10-second match. I sold my ass off, and, I get to say I debuted on national television. Like, it's kind of cool.
I think that's fucking cool. Kind of cool. It's fucking cool. Holy. I'm sorry. Like my jaw is like my mouth is open. I'm like, whoa. That, I don't know. I think that's cool. And that makes for an awesome story. That's so cool. So 2018 was your debut. And then, so you started training then? Like right after that?
Like I said, I had manager training, which they bump you, they roll you. I was a competitive gymnast. So everything came pretty naturally to me. Mm-hmm. And I had a little bit of the psychology just from being ringside, right? And like I'm gonna throw my husband under the bus right now because this is what we do as married couples. I was remembering spots and whatnot before I even knew psychology. So I just knew like the emotion of what was going to change and when, right? Like who was taking over. I don't want to give too much away, but like kayfabe's dead. So yeah, I was remembering spots on the outside before I even knew how to compose anything in the ring. And I debuted 3 months later at an independent company where I finished my training. So I had a total of kind of 6 months, but like we were training once a week, if that. So like I had no fucking training. Like, but I got through it, I think. And then, yeah, we kind of like traveled the world to, or the US, I should say, to find good places to train, what, style would interest us, that stuff. And just expand our horizon because I didn't want to suck because everyone was just trying to book me because I was on TV and I had a little buzz and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know how to wrestle. Like, how do I do this? So,
wow. Okay. So I'm completely surprised because I honestly thought you were in the business for a while, like way more than like 3 years. And that's simply because just how you move in the ring, how amazing you are, how beautifully executed like all your moves are. So in such a short time, amazing. I feel like that's all I've been saying is amazing. But wow, like what a great start. And you know what? It's shown how much hard work you put in yourself. And
I hope so. I think that's the biggest takeaway when people are like, you only have how much time? And I think, I'm very, very grateful for the opportunities that I've been given, but I know everyone's going to see on paper like, oh, wow, she doesn't have a lot of experience. But I think for us, I was in a very competitive sport where I trained very, very hard. I have more body control than most. Like gymnastics is extremely taxing and is all about body control and form and placement and, you know, where you are. And
you already
I
have
think
that
that
discipline.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I wanted to be taken seriously too. Like I didn't just want to be someone that kind of had a name because I had a 2 minute of fame moment. So, and it means something different to me now, honestly. I think, you know, we all go through phases of like what kind of mark we want to leave. And I will say my husband is a big part of that. And our characters have evolved. And, you know, I care less about what people think at this point, which is crazy because I'm making more progress, caring less about what I think other people want. It's just what I have to offer, and I've worked hard for it. And if you don't like it, then it's okay. That's fine. I'm not going to cry about it. This is what I have to offer. And at the end of the day, you know, we have a life to get back to when wrestling might not be there.
Right. Yep. Can't please everybody, and just do you, be yourself. If they don't like it, it isn't a big deal, because your mental health is way more important.
Right. I mean, no suck. Don't get me wrong. Like it's always brutal. You're like, really? Like, why? What did I do? Is it this? Is it this?
Yeah.
But then it's like, you know, I can only do so much. And it's really not a competition at the end of the day. Like this isn't necessarily a competitive sport. So it's subjective. I just have to remind myself everything is subjective.
That's right. And now, were you always Lady Frost from the very beginning?
So they named me Jamie Frost for that extra spot. And I tell this story all the time. Like I had just settled on a name. So the 1.5 years that I was a manager, knowing nothing, I went through like these really weird names, no names, like the Buff Beauty. I don't know, some weird shit. But I finally settled on a name like 2 months prior. I just started the Twitter account and it was Ellie Fredericks. So I'll try to make it short. Ellie is short for elephant for Shane, or my husband and I just can't say his name. When we were trying to date, I didn't want to. And he's like, when are we going to talk about the elephant in the room? And that was, you know, that we liked each other. So we have an elephant in every room of the house. I have a little Ellie tattoo on my Achilles. So that was Ellie. And then Fredericks was my stepdad's first name is Frederick. When he adopted me, I didn't change my last name, and I felt really guilty forever because he's my dad, he's my person, he is everything. So I was like, I'm going to make it, and I'm finally going to take his last name and honor him. So yeah, I was all pumped. I was like, Ellie Fredericks is perfect. It's for my husband, my dad. And then I get this spot and they're like, hey, you're Jamie Frost. And I was like, so upset. I was like, I'm like, no. So yeah, Q trending on Twitter and all these followers. And it was just kind of like, all right, well, I guess we still kind of had like the lady and the gentleman gimmick working. And I just stayed with Lady to kind of see what happened. And then it was just like, I don't know, it stuck. Frost was kind of over. People thought it was cool. And you know, it took me a while to embrace it. I was like, I don't want to be a freaking ice queen. But so yeah, it ended up sticking. And now to me, it's kind of, you know, am I cool? Am I cold-hearted? Do I have superpowers like Killer Frost? I kind of keep everyone on the fence, but yeah, it's fun.
I love it. You actually came to a show here in Canada where I met you for the first time in 2019. Now, I have to say, you earned my respect, like right off the bat, simply because you came up to me, introduced yourself, and said hi. It sounds silly, but it is a complete lost art, and I'm so happy to see you on bigger platforms. Now, I don't know if things have changed because I've been only in shows here in Ontario. But back then, it was really important you go to every single person and shake their hand and introduce yourselves and say hi. And you don't get a lot of that. Well, I don't see a lot of that anymore. So to see, especially another female come up and say hi, I was like, oh, I like her.
I am going to
like her
stop
instantly.
you because I have this same story for you. So I didn't know this as a manager, that was like a customary thing. This is what you're supposed to do. And I was really just, I felt like my husband's girlfriend at the time, like we weren't married. So I didn't know. I was just like hanging around. And then I learned kind of the protocols, but like no females would say hi to me. Like I was absolutely shunned. I had a terrible time in the locker room. No one would talk to me. I was just like the outcast. So I was like, very, I don't know. It was a rough kind of intro, I think, to female wrestling.
Yeah.
But when I learned what everyone was supposed to do, I made it a point to go and say hello, whether anyone liked me or not. I didn't care. I just wanted to show that respect. And I was going to say you were one of the only people that was like genuinely willing to look at me and say hello and acknowledge me as a person. And I will forever remember that, forever. Like I was going to bring that up to you because,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I feel like everyone else would not acknowledge me. They would literally like turn their head and walk away. And you were like, we were in a different country. We had never even met each other like on Twitter. We weren't in the same circles, but you gave me the time of day and I was like, that's fucking rad.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm glad we have the same story.
Yes, me too. I love that. And well, because you started out managing, right?
Yes.
Did you find it? Now I'm talking like backstage stuff. Did you find it how you were treated? You were treated differently?
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. Like it was completely hard for you, right?
Oh, yes. It was a nightmare. Especially from females. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it because I don't care anymore. I'm not burning any bridges. I'm just saying it was very different and females are shitty.
Thank you. Exactly. And I think that's why we think the same now about like saying hi, is because even for me, I pretty much started out managing as well. And it was just no one liked me right off the bat. Like I truly had to prove myself to be like at least a person who deserved to be backstage. But it was just, yeah, it was an awful time. So I completely understand what you mean.
I think it's great that we have to build that merit and that trust. And, you know, it gave me like a grittiness and an edge because we had to struggle to earn that, because it wasn't like we just started, at least for me, as a nobody starting from the ground up. I was a nobody that debuted on television. So I really got the hesitation and the pushback. Yeah. But now I find it like detrimental to always say hello and to help the newcomers. Like that's the point. It's not a real competition. Like we need other people and we need vets. We need new people. We need everyone if they're willing to be a helpful part of the industry. Like there's a lot of shitty people in here. So why not help the ones that want it, that are doing the work, that want to leave at a better place? And you don't know until you get to know someone even a little bit. You can tell in 3 seconds if they want to engage or if they're going to have a shitty attitude.
Exactly. Yes. And just like, why don't you just want to be a good person? You know what I mean? Like
that's the question of life that I ask every day. Like, why are humans so terrible? Can't you just be a good human, please?
You mentioned you're married to the savage gentleman, Victor Benjamin. So I didn't know that you guys knew each other before. So he was wrestling, you said 2 years prior. Did you meet him while he was wrestling, or were you guys like high school sweethearts, or how long did you guys know each other for?
We technically met at a fitness convention, although I don't remember. He does. It's like a fable at this point. I was wearing white yoga pants. And I'm sorry for my dogs. They want to pick the squeaky toy right now. They can't pick like a rope.
That's okay.
So yeah, we met there. He started following me on social media. We were sponsored by the same fitness company, like nutrition company at the time. And we started like, liking posts, and he had a very interesting style. I always used to say like he would be rad to be friends with, but I would never sleep with him. Like he was not my not my type, but he was really cool. Yeah. So here we are, like 6 years later. But yeah, so it was really social media that made it happen. And then he was doing tattoos on the side, and I really wanted one, and I got one from him, and that just started the whole. Yeah, he courted me for a while. I said no for I think like 3 or 4 months. And that's when, he was like, when are we going to talk about the elephant in the room, over and over? And finally one day I caved, and it was like, it only took that one day, and it was game over. Like we knew right from the start, and we were moved in together, I think in like 3 months. We were married like almost immediately.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
We have 2 like husky mixes.
Oh.
They're pit bull, Malamute, Basset Hound, Corgi. They're a Heinz 57, we call it in Pittsburgh. They look husky, but they're like 35% husky actually.
Wow.
They're cuties. They're good. We thought we were getting little dogs, but they're like 70, 80 pounds each.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
So what did he tattoo on you?
I have an open bird cage with birds flying out, and
Nice.
I wanted the quote, "You don't have to give up to let go."
Oh.
And I was at a phase in life where I had to let a lot of things go, and that didn't necessarily mean that I was giving up. So ironically, he was in a bad relationship, and he was trying to make it work, and he didn't want to give up because he wasn't a quitter. And I'm pretty sure that tattoo, the quote struck a chord, and then it was just like the natural chemistry, like the air was electric. I left. He texted me. He said, "Did you feel that?" And I was like, "Nope, no, I didn't." Immediately, because he was still with his girlfriend at the time. And I was like, "Don't ever text me again, anything like that. You have a girlfriend." And he gave me the, "Oh, it's not like that. You don't understand." And I was like, "Oh, I definitely do. Like, I'm going to block your number." And literally like 2 days later, she was moving out of his house. And he's like, "I told you, like she was just staying there, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, oh boy. So that's why it took so long, I think, for me to let my guard down.
Right.
But he was very persistent in a good way, like not a creepy way. But yeah, he kept at it. We just talked over the phone almost pretty much every day.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, all right, fine. fine. He knew before I did.
Wow. Okay, so you said that you guys, like soon after you guys met, you guys moved in, and then soon after that, you guys got married. So you guys are pretty much like Josh and I. Like everything happened so quick for us as well, just because we just knew. We had that feeling, and we knew like this was it, that this was real. And
those are the exact words. When you know, you just know.
yeah. And like people used to say that to me, and I'd be like, you're fucking crazy.
Yep.
Because how the heck would you just get this feeling? Like, how would you, like, you get the feeling? Like, I was in a 5+ relationship before, and I took like I think it was like, there was like a 14-month break before I met Josh. So after that five-year relationship, I'm like, F this. I know what I want in a relationship now. Like I want this and this. I know that this makes me unhappy. You just know. And the moment I met Josh, I was just floored because he like hit every check mark, and he hit every single thing that like he didn't do the things that I didn't like. You know what I mean?
Didn't want, right.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's crazy. Like we we talked, and then we had our like first date like a couple months after, and then we got engaged 2 months after that, and then we got married a month after that.
Wow.
We moved
That was
in
rough.
a month after that.
Jeez. I think when you're in so many relationships, you know exactly what you don't want.
Yeah.
I think that's more so like we can always say like, well, I want X, Y, and Z. I want this and this. I was single for like 4 years before he and I got together. And
Oh,
I was
good
at a
for
point
you.
where I was like, I have my own house, my own car, my own job, all my things. Like, I don't need anybody. Like, I looked
Mhm.
at him straight in the face and was like, I will tell you right now, I do not need another human. I have no family. I had my dad, and basically that was it. I said, I would like to get to a point where I want someone so much it kind of feels like I need them, but I won't
Mhm.
need you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was like, that's freaking awesome. He's like, that's great because I don't need anyone either. I was like, perfect. And then like 3 days later, we're like, I love you so much. I need you. But no, I think at least for us, the important thing was we had kind of figured out who we were, what we were doing. We knew that we didn't have to rely on someone and be codependent. It was just, we were like two whole people coming into a relationship. We weren't broken or empty or looking for a relationship to fill anything. It was just like enhancing each other's lives instead of trying to like fill voids in each other's lives.
Exactly. Exactly everything you just said.
Nice. I'm glad someone gets that and can relate. I know it's a weird concept. Like you have to be whole before you can enter something and actually bring things to the table and
Yeah.
enhance and better a relationship.
100%. Now, it's a little early for a game, but I'm like so excited to get to this like one part of the segment. I'm just going to fit in a game right now so I don't have to like cut it off. Okay, my first game that I play is this or that. You know
Okay.
the concept, you're just going to choose one of the two. All right. The first one is being stuck in an elevator or stuck on a ski lift.
I 100% would say stuck on a ski lift. I hate small confined spaces. I'm not tremendously claustrophobic, but I am to some degree. And like a ski lift, I can jump if need be. Like I'd rather break a leg.
I can't do heights.
Really?
No, yeah, I can't. I'm just terrified. I'll do it, but I'm terrified. Okay, when sleeping, are you a one person pillow or are you a several person or sorry,
I
several
love
pillow
I
person?
yep. I love how you said several because it wasn't just two. It's like you're a one or you are a 2 plus plus. And
Yes,
I'm a several.
same. Yep.
Yep.
I have one under my head. I have one behind my head, which is like the headboard, but for some reason I put one there too. And then I have one for over my like eyes. I just like that heavy feeling.
I've done that too. So I do two under my head. One's like a firm, a Tempur-Pedic, and the top one's like a down pillow. And sometimes I'll
Oh,
do the Tempur-Pedic, sometimes I do the down, sometimes I do both. But if I just do one of them under, I'll pull the other one over my eyes. And generally there's like a third one floating in the middle somewhere. Now it's been
yes.
taken up by dogs. So
Oh.
whatever fits. If it's like a torso or a pillow, it's something, but I'm a several for sure.
Yes. Oh, and I've just discovered weighted blankets and they're amazing. Just thought you'd like to know.
I feel like they are definitely beneficial, but I might be like, oh my God, get it off of me.
Oh
It's
no,
like,
it's comfortable.
no, I need freedom. Like, I don't even do a top sheet. I cannot like stand to feel burritoed in. Like, that's what I call it. Like, I don't want to turn over and get burritoed. Both, both my hubby and I toss and turn a lot. So
Mm-mm.
I think we need one comforter and then that's it.
That's it. All right. Heels or sneakers?
Oh, at this point in my life, like I would love to say both, but it's definitely sneakers. But Lady Frost is heels. I have to be. I'm all proper and, But in real life, it's gym clothes 90% of the time. And then the other 10%, it's super, super high heels.
Nice, nice. Texting or calling your husband?
He hates the phone, so it's texting. But I do like a good phone conversation from time to time.
See, that's the same with my husband. He's a texter as well. He hates talking.
Yeah, he does too. And we're together so much that it's like, I feel like we're right next to each other, texting each other. Like, he's in the bathroom, I'm on the couch, we're still texting.
And last one, are you more of a TV show watcher or a movie watcher?
TV show. I'm not huge into movies because if I'm disinterested, I just turn it off. And we don't really have a whole lot of time. But when we do, I'm like, all right, 16 episodes, let's go. It's hard to just like commit to a 1.5 hour movie, which sounds insane because you're just scrolling and scrolling. And then I feel like I just end up picking a terrible horror film over and over. And I'm like, this is the exact same scary movie that we watched, last month or 2 months ago over and over.
What was your last show you guys watched?
Somehow we backed into, what is it called? Wait, I have to think. It's something about a plane went missing for like 5.5 years.
Lost?
No, not Lost. It wasn't even a Netflix original, but they just dropped it. I don't even know what it's called, but I'm like sort of getting away from it because it's like getting supernatural and I'm not really into like supernatural things per se.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think of it, I will definitely shoot you a message. It was really good. But before that, it was Dirty John. And it was like some psychopathic doctor, lawyer he had like 5 wives at the same time. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I know. It's just whatever pops up. We're like, all right, let's see what it is.
This is on Netflix?
Yes.
Interesting.
I was going to say there was a second season that was entirely about someone else. I think it was Dirty Betty maybe, but it was terrible. It was not the same thing, but Dirty John was good.
How many seasons is that?
I think there was only those 2.
Oh.
But Dirty John was 1 season. They tried to make it the same concept, I guess, with different characters, but
I see. We're currently watching Ray Donovan. Have you ever watched that?
Oh, yes, we watched it and we loved it.
So good. I think we're in the second last season.
There were a lot. We started that one, I think, last year. That was a quarantine watch, and it was definitely worth it.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
Give me your top series.
Series?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I have a definitive answer, and like I won't take anything else for like it's Dexter 100%, and I won't take no for an answer. It's Dexter.
I haven't really watched Dexter.
Oh no!
I know. I'm sorry. I've watched like episodes here and there. He is definitely smart, very smart. But I don't know. It was a little gory for me, but I watched it like 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah. I feel like people are very, very into it, or they're like, okay, I got into it too late because there was so much hype. But if you watched it like right from the beginning when it did drop, people are just like super fans.
Yeah. For me, it's The Office.
Okay, so that's
I'm
funny.
a big.
I've never ever seen an episode of The Office.
Oh my goodness. I'm such a huge comedy buff, so I like, even stupid comedies. I like them. But The Office is my number one.
All right. Well, at least you have one. I feel like you definitely have a lot of people supporting that show. So I get it.
Okay.
What's next? Did we even talk about husbands? Like barely.
We're getting into that now.
All right.
All right. So you guys tag as Pretty Proper. Yep. How did you guys make that decision to like, hey, let's do this together? Because right now you guys are successful and you guys look amazing together. Like, I just love the entire look, and you guys obviously mesh well.
I hope we have chemistry. So it's weird. It was very much from the start that we knew that's what we wanted to do. My second match ever on the indies, so it would be my third technically, but my second match ever was an intergender tag with him. And that's really all I ever knew. I stole all of my moves from my husband originally. Because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but we would go to open ring like just him and I didn't know what a heat was. Like, I didn't know how to just like work four corners. I was like afraid to hit people. He's like, what are you doing? Hit me. Like, he was a mixed martial artist for 10 years. So he's used to getting hit. So he taught me so much early on, and he could only give me so much because he was only, a year or two in. But I think that's how we kind of built that, like, understanding that our styles were very different. And even if I took one of his moves, it looked not the same, like our bodies naturally did different things. But we worked well together. We knew we always wanted to do the manager thing. Like, I was always managing him. He hated promos and I loved them. So that's kind of where that happened. And then we did a tryout for Beyond Wrestling like 3 years ago. And Stokely Hathaway said, what if we change it up and Victor Benjamin manages Lady Frost? Ooh. And he was like, what? Because it was unheard of at that time. Like, no one was doing that 3 years ago. Stokely gave that to us specifically, and we ran with it. So when I wrestled, he managed me, and then it became like it was a package deal. If you got one of us, you got both of us. We really wanted to get it over as a package, really. And we were heels forever. So it was easy to have a manager. It made sense. If I was a baby face and he was on the outside, like, it would be ridiculous. But obviously easy to use as distraction, cheat spot, all that. And then we really got into dissecting tag wrestling, and our move set was really, really fun to encounter when we started training with the right coaches, because of his strength and my agility. We just kind of made like crazy magic happen. And now it's a blast to fight next to each other.
I love it. See, when Josh had mentioned, he's like, why don't you come with me and manage me for the show? I said, and I think it was the time that I was in, like the era that I was in. I just didn't want to be associated with him. I didn't want to be the girlfriend of the walking weapon and all that stuff. And I wanted my own identity, because I worked so hard, trying to earn the respect back then just for my own name. And I was like, I don't really know. I don't know. He's like, just do it. Come on. And he like really wanted me to manage. I said, okay, fine, let's do it. And I freaking loved every single moment being out there right beside him. I was like, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, right. So I feel like because I was attached to him from the beginning, it did feel like that, like I was always his girlfriend / wife. But then originally I got more bookings than he did on women's shows, because they don't even want men, period, whatsoever. It's like all women only. I'm like, I'm sorry, babe, but it's a booking. So then it was weird trying to work without him. But then when he got bookings without me, which was rare, I was like, this is fucking great. Like, I don't have to wrestle. I get to be on the outside. Like, I was like, I want to be a manager again. Fuck this wrestling stuff. Like, I don't have to bump. I don't have to do anything. Give me a microphone. It'll be awesome. But I mean, I do love wrestling. I really do. But if something happens and I'm injured or I'm too old or whatever, like he gets signed and I don't, like I will forever be his biggest cheerleader. I will manage him till I can't anymore, because it's wild. Like you get the emotion from the fans behind you, the emotion from the ring in front of you. Like you're in this, I don't even know what to call it. You're caught in the middle of it all. It's fantastic. And you don't have to do like a whole lot of work. You just have to be invested, which I was, because to me, I didn't know how much was worked, real, fake, this, that. Like my man was getting his ass beat or he was doing the ass whooping. And like, I was very much like, I was invested because it was emotional for me. It was very much real. So managing has definitely a special place in my heart. And I would love to do it again. Like I'd love to make it as a wrestler and be, you know, a legitimate professional wrestler, but managing is definitely like high on my list of things I love.
See, I knew I loved you. I absolutely love managing. I think managing is, you know, almost as tough as wrestling, simply because, you know, you're not just going out there and just standing there. You also have to, like you said, you trained to also manage. I hate using the word art because I've already used it, but not everyone can just go out there and manage.
Right. I mean, nowadays, honestly, anyone can go out and do whatever they want in wrestling because everyone is accepted. And like, I'm going to sound like an ass, but I feel like everyone should be trained and safe and well-versed and
absolutely.
That's how you earn your place. Like everyone, I don't care about gender, race, anything. Like I think everyone should be accepted in that regard. But as far as like letting anyone in to the sport, the art, the whatever you call it, I mean, it does take a certain kind of dedication to whatever craft. If you're an announcer, if you are a manager, if you're a wrestler, whatever, you know, part of the business that you're in, it's definitely, they're vital to do it well. If you want to get on television, you can't just stand and cheerlead and think you're a manager.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, for crying out loud, Paul Heyman is one of the greatest walking the earth, period. Like, I will buy a ticket just to listen to Paul Heyman.
Now, going back to your husband,
yes.
What was your first impression of him?
So I always go back to this one picture on Instagram. And so if you've ever met my husband, he's like really secure and confident, but he's like a supreme goofball who does not take himself as serious as he comes off. So I saw a picture on Instagram. He had spray painted his beard silver and had Christmas bulbs in his beard. And this was before it was trending and it was a thing. Like, I promise you, this was like 8 years ago. I saw the picture and I was like, what the hell is he doing? Like, why does he have bulbs in his beard? Like, who the fuck does this? So, and I was like, okay, but like, he's so secure enough to do this like weird shit that I thought it was awesome. And that's hence, like, I go back to, I want to be friends with this person, but not sleep with this person. Yes. So he always had way more confidence than I did. Lady Frost is supremely confident. Me as an individual, I'm actually not. Like, that's very much, it comes from him, his influence, his pep talks, and then creating a character that is not me. Like, I hope people don't think I'm as pretentious as Lady Frost, because I'm certainly not.
Oh. Where did you guys have your first date?
So our first official date we went to a Brazilian steakhouse.
Ooh.
And yes, he is definitely likes to eat, and it's an all you can eat, endless meat and appetizers, all of that. If people aren't familiar, but so we get all dressed up. We go to walk into the restaurant, and all of a sudden the fire alarms start going off.
Oh my gosh.
Like literally right when we walk in the door. And like my husband being so confident, he's like, we're on fire. We're so hot. We walked in here.
Yes.
We set the fire alarm off. The cheesiest jokes in the world, right? Like endless. I promise you, is endless cheesy jokes like this. So, yep. The first date, we set the fire alarm off. It wasn't us, but we say it was us.
Amazing.
Yep. We waited like 20 minutes, and then we still got to go in there, and he ate like 17 pounds of meat. I'm pretty sure.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you got to go all out when you go to a Brazilian steakhouse. Yeah.
You better go hungry. That's for sure.
What was the best date that you guys have had?
The best date. I feel like we've had a couple in interesting cities. And actually in Canada, we went to, is it the CN Tower?
Yes.
Not the CN. Is it the CN Tower?
Yeah. The tall structure?
Yes. So we did that there, and one in Texas. And we like rode the elevator all the way up, and the whole restaurant was rotating around the city.
Yeah.
So we had the aerial view, which you probably would hate because you hate heights.
Wow.
But we, I feel like we were in like pivotal parts of our career, and emotionally, I guess, we didn't do a lot of like real dates back home because we traveled so much, and we were in so many cities, and we had to like carve out time to do special things. And we got to step back, I guess, and do real life and wrestling life at the same time, and overlook a city like thousands and thousands of feet in the air.
Oh, see, I was going to say that, well, in my opinion, I don't know about Josh, but my best date with him was actually up in the CN Tower as well.
Yes.
Yeah. We had dinner. So what he did was he proposed to me with his family ring, but my fingers are so ridiculously tiny. There was no way that this ring could size down that much. Anyway, so we're actually up there for his birthday dinner, and throughout the entire time, I don't know what kind of like hinted to another ring, but I kept telling him, I really hope that you don't like get a ring for this. Like, just don't worry about it. Like, don't rush. It's okay. We could get married without a ring. Like, I was totally cool. Like, there was absolutely no rush. We knew that we loved each other, and we were, still we got married at City Hall. So we knew we were going to do that. So a ring wasn't important to me at that time. Well, this guy, after we finished dinner, we went up to the outside part of it, and he had kept this ring in his pocket without the box. So it's just, free to drop whenever at any point.
Right.
And he goes to the bathroom. He's like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. Goes to the bathroom. I guess he gets ready, and he comes out. And then we are out on the outside, which is super windy. I don't know if it was windy for you, if you guys went out to the outer part. But that day, it was super windy. And he was just, I think he was kind of like shaking when he showed it to me, or when he gave it to me. But I was like, how did you keep that in your pocket? So anyway, he gave me my own engagement ring. And yeah, I'd say that was my best ever date with him. And I love that the CN Tower was part of yours too.
I was just going to say, we had a family ring also, but it was my dad's ring that he gave to my husband for the wedding though.
Aww.
It was like non-traditional, but kind of traditional. But I think everyone like does risky things, carrying around a ring without a box if it's in a backpack or in their pocket, or it's a windy
my.
day, or,
Yeah.
you're over top the city. But so I'm going to give you a quick story about the CN Tower. We had actually a terrible experience, but somehow it worked out for us because the bread bowl that they gave you, we each took a piece, and then we looked down and we noticed a whole hunk of bread had like a bite out of it, like teeth marks, everything.
Oh my God.
We're like, oh my God. So, you're willing to spend like $500 at this point on a meal, 2 meals, an appetizer, a glass of wine, whatever it is. And you look down at the bread bowl, and the bread was like eaten. So they had to have taken that bowl back, put some on the top. So they're like, so sorry, so sorry. We're like, oh my gosh. Okay. So we got new bread. And then I get my filet medium rare, expecting it to kind of be rare. When you get medium rare, I know it's going to be, what it's like. Pink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's how I like it.
So it's so dark in these restaurants. It's so, so dark. And I'm not really picky. Like, I'm really happy. You're elated to be there. You had a glass of wine. I look at my steak and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like purple still. Like it's cold in the middle, like very cold.
Oh.
And the waiter comes over and he says, nope, that's medium rare.
No.
So fun fact, my dad owned a restaurant forever. So I've grown up in the restaurant industry. I hate sending anything back. Like, I despise it. I feel terrible. I get like super anxious. Like I refuse. I'll just eat it cold instead. But I know what we're paying. We've already had a problem with the bread. So the guy like brings a flashlight over and he's like, okay, maybe it's a little too rare.
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh,
it's freezing in the middle. Like, it's so cold. So then we have to send the steak back. And by the time I get a new one, my husband's already like done with his whole meal. I'm like, oh my gosh, this was a disaster. But we ended up, I think, getting all of it for free, maybe. Or, we paid for one thing and then they gave us dessert. So like it kind of worked out, but like, I think it was just one of those scenarios that you were like, we went in expecting to pay a certain amount. We just wanted to see the view, the scenery, enjoy each other's company. And like everything went wrong, but we're like, okay, at least we didn't spend like $500 on this. Like, it could have been worse.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's usually not like that. What a weird night. Oh my goodness.
Yep, it was pretty strange, but anyways, it's still one of my favorites randomly though.
Well, you see, you guys still made like the most of it. Do you guys go all the way to the top?
We did. Yes.
See, I won't do that. I can't do that. What's it like up there?
So he also hates heights, but somehow I got him to go skydiving with me last year.
Oh my goodness. That gives me anxiety.
Yep. So I'm fearless when it comes to heights. Like, I'm the top rope gal. Like, I will jump off buildings. I'm the flyer.
Damn.
He's like, I like to be on the ground, but I've always wanted to go skydiving. And then it turns out one of his friends was jumping so many times to become an instructor. So he kept pushing him. He's like, hey, you have to come. I'm going to do this whole like documentary and video on people that are afraid to do it, but conquer their fear anyway. So he's like, oh, fine. You're doing this video. I'll do it for you. Conquering your fears. And like, he's this tough guy. He's like, I'll go. So the worst part is by far the plane up into the air, because it's this tiny little charter. And like, it feels like it lasts forever just to get up there.
Oh my goodness.
But that wasn't terrible. It was like jumping out of the plane. I was like, let me do a backflip, but you're attached to someone. And my, like the guy I was attached to, he wasn't super fun. He was like an older, really safe guy. And I was like, ugh, you're boring. But the jump was great. And then you're stuck in the air, like in limbo for way too long. I was just like looking at the abyss, like, when are we going to be on the ground? Like, I'm just stuck in the earth right now. I'm stuck in the air. So I started like, oh my God, when do we hit the ground? Like, the jump wasn't bad. Like, I would do it again, but just like, I guess that's the appeal though. Like, floating in nothingness feels great for people, but I was like, nope. I'd like to be on the ground now. I'm cool. I saw it. I see water, I see land, I see buildings. I
Wow.
need to get to the ground.
So then how soon afterwards did he let out the parachute?
Um
Was he
so the first
boring and he was like, as soon as you jump
no,
and
no,
then he
no.
pulls it?
He was just a boring guy. He wasn't like, "Are you ready? Let's do this. Come on, we're going to jump." He was just like, "Okay, so at whatever 1,000 feet, I'm going to pull the rip cord. And then at this point, you'll feel the double tap on your shoulder." And I was like, "Come on, man. Like, we're jumping out of a plane." Like, and my hubby had like this super young, fun, energetic guy that was like, "Yeah, man, we're going to jump out of this plane. Let's do it. Right?" Like, meanwhile, he probably needed my like chill, super safe guy to be like, "Okay, we're gonna do like by the book." And I'm like, "Don't give me the by the book. We're jumping out of a plane. Like, you can't give me by the book." But the free fall was great. Like, you're plunging with no parachute. I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" And then we pull the parachute, and you're like in slow motion, stuck. You're not stuck, but like that's what I felt. I'm like, "Give me the adrenaline rush." And then I was just like, "Okay, how long are we going to be in the air kind of doing nothing?" Like, it was a really weird feeling. Like, I thought I was going to freaking love it, but I'll probably never do it again. I'm glad I did it. And like, he says the same thing. He's like, "I'm glad I did it." We both got sick afterward too, like motion sickness. We had to ride
Oh.
in a van back to like the building. And it was like a 5-minute ride. We were like, "Oh my God, we're going to throw up."
Oh no. So your husband
Yeah.
actually enjoyed himself.
He didn't dislike it. He didn't love it, but we were both like, "Cool, we did it once, never again."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got more guts than me. I would never, ever, ever.
That's what he said. But like, he's married to me and, shit happens. I was like, "You're doing it."
What's the one thing about him that you wish you could help out with, but you can't?
Patience. Patience. Not that I have a whole lot myself, but I think he's like supremely capable to do anything in the whole world. Like, he is the mecca of all things I look to, but once he gets in a rush, it's like he's too flustered to speak to. I'm like, I try to do the whole chill, calm down, but you can't tell like a person in that mindset to chill. It doesn't work. It makes it worse.
Nice. Okay. On to even more fun things. We're gonna get into games. Oh, we could do a game right now.
Let's go.
See?
Game time.
Let's do it. Okay, we're gonna do rapid fire. I'm gonna name a simple move, and you name the first person that pops into your head.
I'm going to be the worst person for this ever. I promise you. I don't watch that much wrestling. But come on, we'll try.
All right. So yes. That's the attitude. All right. The first one is drop kick.
My husband. They're all going to be my husband. Next.
Super kick.
The Young Bucks.
Choke slam.
Kane.
DDT.
DDP? No.
DDT.
Yep, Jake the Snake.
German suplex.
Still my husband. I think he broke his neck on a chaos theory.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that just made me cringe. Moonsault.
Me.
Yes.
Yes.
You. And power bomb.
I don't know, actually.
Dun dun dun.
Who does a good power bomb? Brian Cage? Lance Archer?
There you go.
I don't know. That's who I got right now.
See? You did it.
All right, I did it.
You did it. You did it. All right. We are going to get into
Broken necks.
relationship. Oh.
Bro, I was just going to say, because do you even know that my husband had a broken neck also?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Actually, from
So
Chaos Theory, he broke his neck.
I don't know if it's a chaos theory. I'm pretty sure he wrestled with a broken neck for at least 6 months. He had atrophy in his arms, the pins and
Oh.
needles, all of it. Yeah, he is a
Mhm.
psycho. But he had like 4 or 5 discs that were like almost puncturing into his spinal fluid. So
Oh
yeah,
my
it was
goodness.
bad. um, yeah, so Josh and him both have that in common. They came back. Definitely how much better too, which is crazy to see.
Hmm. Wow, I didn't know that. We're
Yep.
just like our
We're
lives are just running
unturning all the
parallel, eh?
rocks. Yeah. We're gonna end this call and set up a double date soon.
Yes, no kidding.
Canada, America, I don't know. We're gonna make it happen. Whoever's listening, they're like, oh my God, are they done with this? Like, this is a real phone call. This isn't an interview.
When was his surgery?
The surgery was actually 2 years ago, almost, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago to the day, 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And if you want to hear something crazier, we had a wedding. He had neck surgery. We sold our house and we moved to Baltimore for Ring of Honor. All in like a week. Like a week.
And then, so you're telling me he wrestled right away?
No, we went to the dojo and I wrestled for 3 months before he was cleared. He started slow. It was like I don't want to say a volatile situation there, but it was not super welcoming for him to like come back and start bumping. They just really were like, whatever, kid. So, yeah, he was just uncertain of how it was all going to go. He had taken so much time off and we had moved our life because I did the tryout. They said, yeah, move out here. You can be part of the dojo. So we did. We sold our house. We moved there. Yeah. So that was an interesting phase of life.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Are we, are
But
we
wrestling.
Oh boy.
It wasn't all bad. It wasn't all bad.
Oh boy. Are you guys
Yeah.
still based out of there or no? Did you guys move
No.
again?
So about, I think we were there for like 8 months. We were in talks with Chikara, who was under a deal with WWE to buy their product for their network. And Mike Quackenbush was the coach at the time. And I'm sure he doesn't have the best rep on the internet, but we absolutely adore his coaching. He took us to a different level, mentally, physically, tag wise, psychology, all of it. We were driving 2.5 hours each way from Baltimore to Philly just to train with him once or twice a week.
Wow.
Yeah, he was that valuable. So when he asked us to come, we had to make a decision kind of with how it was going with Ring of Honor or if we wanted to work with him under WWE, essentially. There was no guarantee either way, but I know the coaching was like a really big, factor in us moving to Philadelphia. So after selling our house in Pittsburgh, moving to Baltimore, we then moved to Philadelphia. And then the world shut down because of COVID-19.
Come on.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So don't move anymore.
Yeah, no, we moved back to Pittsburgh. And that's why I was like, I'm done with what everyone else wants. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, we got a house and the dogs and the marriage. And like, that's what normal people like. And wrestling is freaking ripped us apart. And why do we love it so much? Because, we just do. But I don't want to move. I really don't for a long time unless it's really worth it. And I think part of like the best part of life is just like putting your roots into something and like having it matter and mean something. And we got away from being a happily married couple to like, we sacrificed it all. As soon as we got married, we moved to Baltimore and we had a roommate and neither of us had roommates. Like I lived on my own my whole life. I lived out of my car at 18 because I was like, I will do it on my own and worked 5 jobs, got my own place and lived on my own. forever unless it was like with a significant other. So we had a roommate, which was weird, and then moved again, and then had to move again. And it was just, I feel like our hearts were ripped out with opportunity and promise, and we had to start over. And we we're like, okay, what matters to us? It's our foundation of love and what we give back into the world. And like, we want to be good people. We want to help others. We want to do what we love, kind of selfishly, because, you know, we get up and leave every weekend. We don't have kids. We don't, you know, have a lot of commitments. We leave our family, but at the same time, we came back home to Pittsburgh knowing that we would get to see our family more. We missed that. So it was like heart-wrenching for sure. It was a really, really hard like year and a half. But I mean, it was for everyone. It's not to complain, like everyone has a rough go, I feel like, in wrestling and during quarantine, but we all have a story for sure.
Wrestling's tough in that sense where, you know, it's hard to gauge on what, I don't want to say what is real, but like, things are hard to be promised, you know?
Yes.
But the fact that you guys went for it, not once, you know, but like twice, you went for it. It just shows your drive and your love and your passion for the business. So if you could take anything from that, just knowing that we did it, we made all these big moves. Moving sucks, by the way.
Oh my gosh, it sucks so much. And like,
you did that for wrestling, you know? It's
not a brag, but like him and I, you know, had our own houses individually. And when we had like a 3-bedroom, 3-story house that we had to move. We had a lot of shit is what I'm saying. It's not like we had a really gigantic house. Like we had a lot of crap. So moving that twice, like it's hard to get rid of, you know, this was his, this was mine. We merged this. These are memories. This is, you know, it was so much. And I think that's like, it's not like we are living out of a suitcase in like a New York, like loft, 1-bedroom something, and we're packing up to go. It really felt like our whole lives, because we each had our whole lives in a house that we were just like, oh, let's go for wrestling. And it is, you know, sacrifice. And I know everyone makes their own kind of sacrifice for wrestling without promise, without guarantee. But at the same time, like, would we do it again? I don't know. We didn't want to live an average life. We didn't feel like we were average people. We were unsatisfied with just doing mediocre things. And sometimes simple is really, really great. But other times, like, I know we wouldn't be satisfied just kind of doing the same thing over and over. We're talented without like blowing our heads up. You know, we have a gift and we're athletes and we're performers, and I don't want to just settle and say, all right, well, I'm going to go to my 9 to 5. I'm going to come home and watch Netflix and go to bed. Like that's not my life. It's okay for a lot of people. I'm not putting that down. I just know that it wouldn't make me happy. So, you know, we're here heartbroken from wrestling over and over, trying to make it.
So tell me, moving with all that stuff, what did you end up doing? Did you guys like sell off stuff, or did you take everything with you?
Oh my God, we took everything. We found somehow a 3-bedroom house in Maryland to rent. And luckily we did, because we had sold our house, we paid for the wedding. We paid 6 months of rent up front, you know, to see how it went, to give this guy like security in Maryland, because we were living in Pittsburgh and it was really hard to travel like 4 hours each way just to be like, hey, here's this. So, yeah, we moved once with all this stuff. Then I was like, we have to get rid of this. We can't do this again. Like there was just so much that we were holding on to that we didn't need to. But then the move to Philly was like immediate. And somehow we found another 3-bedroom house to rent with a basement. And it was not in the greatest area, let me tell you. It was a nicely renovated house in a really freaking bad area.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was not good. So then we ended up, when I say we got, I think the biggest U-Haul is a 36 footer, maybe, if that makes sense. But the biggest U-Haul that you can get, and we might have moved 2 of them each time.
Wow.
Yeah. And not having connections, family, friends, that kind of stuff. Like we did a lot of it on our own. So we very much feel like we've done so much on our own, like without a group, without, where we came up and trained with, like we're like vagabonds, right? We're just like, I don't know, we go and do, and it's only the 2 of us, but I don't know, I guess I wouldn't have it any other way. It makes us stronger, hopefully, when we're like 70.
So you guys really are the best tag team.
Yeah, I think so. Like we are definitely, there's a term, unfuckwithable. That is us. It might not be ladylike or proper, but we are certainly unfuckwithable. I told him, wait, so whenever this airs, like my social media accounts are hacked. I was like, could you imagine if I had to go through the extra anxiety if I was like a cheater and they're going through my messages and shit? Like,
oh my gosh.
Like, at least that's one thing I don't have to worry about. Like, those things being exposed. Man,
that's too funny.
Tough out here.
Well, I hope you get your other accounts back. Holy jeez.
I do as well.
How long were you guys in Philly for?
I think only like 6-7 months.
Dang. So then this neighborhood, was it just like a neighborhood where like you shouldn't be leaving your house late at, once it's dark type of neighborhood?
I think it was just like 3 streets over, it was okay, but it definitely felt unsafe for sure. Like we definitely heard gunshots. But again, we were like, in the middle of the pandemic, and there was like looting and rioting, and it was one street over, like helicopters, tanks, all of it one street over. So we were on like extra high alert. I think it was just, we were in just a bad part of Philly. I don't know what else to say.
Holy jeez.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, like nothing went over to your street?
No, not on our street. We were just like barricaded in at one point, like the one day that it got the worst and Philly was all over the news. That was one street over from us. So we knew not to leave. But other than that, I think we left the city for a little bit. We actually went to stay with our trainer, who, like I said, everyone can say bad things about Quack, but he was like, come on over, bring the dogs. I don't care. Get out of there. Like you can't be around all that. So he actually let us come over to his house for a day or 2. And then we came back to Pittsburgh just to, be out of the middle of that.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, I'm glad you guys are finally where you want to be, because that shit's scary. Tanks and stuff? Holy.
Tanks. Literally tanks.
Crazy. Okay, I had some people send in some relationship advice questions.
Oh boy.
So, what are first date do's and don'ts?
Oh my.
Let's start with do's.
I don't know what dating is like. I'm married. I've been married for so long. Like, I don't know. Do act interested, I suppose. Like, that's an easy one. Even if you're not, just be polite and act interested.
Oh my goodness.
So we're more traditional, right? Like the gimmick is sort of real in the sense that like, hey, maybe open the door, for your significant other, like
Yes.
whatever way that
Yes.
goes. I don't know. I like the man to offer to pay, but I know things are so different nowadays, and relationships are different. They're not just like man and wife, or like lady and gentleman. So I don't even know like what happens there, right? If there's an agreement or you both just offer to pay. Do's and don'ts are different now,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
don't be an asshole. That's a big one. Like that's
Huge.
my
That's a
favorite.
huge one.
That's a huge, like, in life, don't be a shitty person.
I guess do tell the truth. I don't know.
Yes,
Like
do tell the truth.
that was the one thing, like the one super important thing on our first date was we laid everything out. And at that point I was like, no bullshit, nothing. So I didn't care. I put it on all out, and if anything scared him off, then
Oops.
just saying
I
hi.
think that's, yeah, he just got home from work, so the dogs are going crazy.
Oh,
That's definitely, there's like mad respect in that, just laying it all out there, no matter what, take it or leave it, because everyone has baggage to some extent.
mm-hmm.
But if you're
Yep.
honest about it, then you have a decision if it's worth it.
Exactly.
Because everyone has a tolerance, like what they're willing to accept or deal with. And, but as long as you're honest about it, it's easier to swallow, I think.
Absolutely. Yep. That was our number one thing that we did. As far as don'ts, I don't know.
Don't be someone else. I mean, that's a big one, right? If you're going to go into something wanting to actually have a relationship, you can't pretend to be something else, because it's really, really never going to work.
Yeah. Your true self will always come out.
Yes.
I was trying to think of do's and don'ts myself, and I wrote this down. And I'm like, I can't really think of anything. Like, honestly, just the only thing is put yourself out there.
Yeah, it's a hard question, I think, in the terms of like nothing is standard or typical or traditional anymore. But I guess being honest with you and whoever you're with is the most important, like being honest.
Yep. Okay, the next question is, before you met your husband, how did you navigate single/dating life? Even though I know you said you didn't date much, you were single for, was it 4 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah. I navigated terribly. I navigated terribly. I think I was in a few long-term relationships, and once I had freedom, I did not respect the freedom the way that I probably should have, because I took advantage of knowing the power that I could have, I think, over other people. I was always the one that kind of, I guess, got walked on, maybe. I was too nice. So then, I was single and I was like, well, this isn't happening anymore. Like, you're not taking advantage of me and you're not taking advantage of me. Maybe I'll take advantage of you. So, yeah, there was like a discovery point in there. But I did know, like, I was very curt. I was very upfront, and I was like, listen, not looking for anything. I don't want anything. Essentially, like, emotionally scarred from relationships. I hate them. I loved being single. But it did teach me a lot about loving myself and not needing someone else's acceptance or validation to feel loved.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the most important questions to ask during the first few months of dating?
I'm not gonna lie, I really dislike all of these questions. Like, how old are you? Like, where did you meet? I don't know. I don't know what questions to ask people.
Like family life, I think. Would you ask like, well, you gotta ask like future stuff. Like, do you want to get married? Do you see kids in your life? Because
Um,
fun fact, Josh wasn't looking to get married. Like,
Neither was I. I definitely wasn't.
really?
We had a Facebook thread of him like while we were dating. He put like the little bride emoji and I had like the X emojis like never.
Oh.
I was like, you can get me the ring, but we're not getting married. Um yeah. So I think everyone has sort of a well that they're willing to dive into, and sometimes some people are worth going all the way down and you don't know what you're capable of, how long you can hold your breath, right? So
Mhm.
it's just like a performance. You think there's going to be 5 people, but you're going to give, maybe a C plus or a B minus, and somehow you want to dig in for whatever to give everything you have. And I think that's a relationship. Like you go in thinking, well, I don't know what this is going to be like, but we're going to test it out. And then by month 2, you're like, I'm giving everything I have. And it's just important to know if that other person is willing to dive as deep as you are.
Right. Yep. How about tips for meeting your significant other's parents for the first time?
Hmm, this went terribly for me, for
Oh
the
no.
record. So, you know how I said like Lady Frost was really pretentious and I'm not? Apparently, Shane's mom did think I was that pretentious because I'm very socially awkward and don't like to open up. I have a lot of weird family issues on my own side. So I don't have a mom, so it was hard for me to connect to her in the beginning.
Mhm.
It took a night of like breaking down all the way and like tears, and
Oh.
I had to give her everything. But um I think it's hard to be vulnerable when you first meet people, right? Especially like people you want to impress or have the right, I don't know. Like she was definitely protective of her son. Like, who is
Mhm.
this new girl? But it works out in the end as long as you're true to yourself as much as you can be. You'll get there. You'll get there.
Exactly. Just be true with yourself. With me, I always try to chat, like try to make conversation. You want to, I mean, I wanted to find out about Josh's mom and like know a little bit more about herself. And so that's my only tip. Just try to create some chit chat. Okay, next one. Should you get into a relationship even if you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself?
Absolutely not. That's my answer. I'm sticking to it. I think
Yes.
the relationship with yourself is the utmost, most important,
Mhm.
period.
You definitely need to be happy with yourself, with like all of yourself, with what is going on with your life, with your work and stuff like that. Because if I'm like a firm believer of what you give off, I'm just speaking about your energy. So
Yes.
if you are like a genuinely happy person and you're happy in your life, you will give that off, and you will attract those who are happy too and who are, positive as well. So
Yes.
I for sure think, yes, you definitely need to put yourself first over everybody.
If
And
you are chaotic and emotional, um, you're probably going to attract people that are chaotic and
mhm,
emotional,
yeah,
or people looking for that to like, I don't know, be some sort of like savior, or I don't know. I don't think anyone else can complete you as a person. You have to do that on your own. And
yes,
when you get into a relationship, I think we talked about it earlier, 2 wholes make a better relationship than 2 halves.
that was beautiful. I I love that.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yes. What's the best relationship advice you have ever been given?
Hmm. I don't think I've ever been given good relationship advice other than that's not the right person. Like, I think that's all that I heard forever until I met my husband. So I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's what anyone has said to me. Um, I mean, if I was to think of advice myself, I would just say that communication is key. And I know my husband will be listening to this, and I know I'm not perfect with communication, but the fact that I try my hardest to make our relationship, continue to work and continue to be amazing as it is. So I think that that's the advice I would give, is that communication in everything. Um, I think the number one thing is not only with relationships, but like friendships and everything in life, even at work, you have to communicate things, or else people will either take things the wrong way and things can easily be
Misconstrued.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes. I think people have a hard time just like saying exactly how they feel because it's hard to one articulate into words or to identify what they're actually feeling. And the latter is even more difficult. People just go through emotions and they're like, I have no idea what this emotion is, where it's coming from, what it stems from. And then they're like, how do I even put this into words and tell someone else? So that's been a challenge, definitely. I think for both my husband and I in different areas. Like I'm definitely more empathetic and compassionate. I have just a sympathetic heart for like everyone. I'm like, bring them all in, like everyone's a stray, right? Like dogs, cats, animals, humans, give me them all. And he's just like, no. But at the same time, he would absolutely go to the end of the earth for anyone. And like he doesn't wear it on his sleeve like I do. He's like a doer. If a problem comes up, he's like, how can I fix it? He's like right in the problem to get to the solution, which is awesome. That's why we work, right? Like I'm emotional and he's just to the point. But you have to be willing to talk it out to get to the same page, because you're not going to be on the same page because you're not the same people. You're different people. So you have to explain yourself to a point where it makes sense to the both of you.
Exactly. And that's it for all the relationship questions that I got.
All
right. Is there anything that you want to put out there in hopes for other couples can also
I feel
have
like
a successful, love?
The number one thing that I want to put out there is now a double date with you and Josh.
Yes.
But for other couples, I want everyone to be the most happy, the most satisfied, to have everything that they want, to not feel limited. And I don't think you discover that until you discover yourself as a person and heal from past traumas or pain and get to a point where you're happy with yourself. And then you find that in a significant other. And I want everyone to be as happy as my husband and I are. And it doesn't have to have a boundary or a limitation or a gender or any of that stuff. I like happy people in love. It's my favorite.
Beautifully said. Now, before you go, I have one last game to play.
Oh boy, another game.
This is my Survivor Series game. You're going to choose 4 other couples you'd want on Pretty Proper's squad. It can be anyone from like celebrities you admire, anyone that would complete your squad. So 4 other couples.
I'm taking Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Do they count?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's like the mega superpower.
Badass. Holy, yep.
I'm gonna go in wrestling. I really like Laney Luck and GPA.
Okay, I don't know them.
You don't know them?
No, I don't.
They're a Chicago couple, but they've been really cool to us. I think. I don't know. I just like them. I'm allowed to like them.
Yes, that's a good reason.
I don't follow a whole lot of celebrity couples. I don't really think that a lot of celebrity couples have like what it takes to have like a fundamentally sound marriage, to be honest. I think
That was probably a
exploitive too
bad,
much.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably a
Like,
bad example. Like,
I
how
want to
about
take
maybe
like,
like friends or like non-wrestling friends?
yeah, like the neighbors next door. Like, give me the neighbors.
Oh,
Um, I do have some neighbors, and one of my best friends, her and her hubby, and I'm not gonna put her out on social media because I respect her privacy.
yes, yes, yes. And then, so wait, is your friends are the neighbors or is that separate?
No,
Your
they're
neighbors and
not.
your
They're
friends?
separate. The
Okay,
neighbors are
okay.
separate.
Beautiful. Okay. That's a pretty dope squad. And you know what? You were so smart to do Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like pretty badass.
They have to be. They're like I mean, I don't even know if I've watched the whole movie, let's be honest. I think it's the concept, it's the idea. They're sexy, they're smart, they're outsmarting each other, but then they work together and they're the best. So I think you can't go wrong with a couple like that.
I love it. Can you tell everyone now? Okay. I just stopped myself because
Right. Where to find me.
yes.
Shut up and tell me. Yeah. Shit. Hopefully I
gonna
get
say
it back soon. So we're gonna do Twitter only.
all right.
And then hopefully we get the rest back.
This poor girl. Oh, the shit you're going through right now with social media is just wild. But
Like,
I
can
am
you
glad.
not just ask people for money or nude photos or like not be an asshole? Like, just that's like the biggest thing in life. Like, don't be an asshole. I wish I could say that. Like, Lady Frost is too proper online to swear. That's what started the whole feud, actually. So this is just you and I. Like the meme wars. I was like, I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you because I'm Lady Frost and I'm proper. And he did something and I was like, you're on the fucking couch. And social media lost their fucking mind. They were like, oh shit, it's fucking real. They're like, Lady Frost swore she's really fucking pissed. Like he's really going to the couch and it was game over.
Okay.
Right,
So
anyways.
where can we find you on social media right now?
I am Real Lady Frost on Twitter. Generally, I'm Real Lady Frost on Instagram and Facebook as well, but my accounts are hijacked. So hold off on those. Twitter only, Real Lady Frost.
Thank you so much for just I got to know you even more, and I'm so freaking happy that I asked you to come on. I just knew that I wanted to talk, relationships and love with you. And while talking about that, we are pretty much like kind of the same person, and we're all like the same couple almost. So it's wild to kind of hear your stories and kind of not compare, but like in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, like correlate. Thank you. You're such a word saver too.
Manager mode.
There you go. There you go. Thank you so much for coming on. Guys, please give her a follow on her Twitter, hold off on IG and Facebook. Until then, see you next Tuesday.